Are you ready to stop settling and start asking for what you truly deserve? In today's episode, we're breaking free from the status quo and stepping boldly into the power of putting you first. Let's talk confidence. You're listening to This Woman Can. I'm your host, Janice Sutherland, where I help mature professional black women take charge of their careers and lives to create a future on their terms. Hey, and thanks for joining me. Welcome back to the podcast. And in this episode, I am following up on my previous conversation with Latonya Pouncey. And if you haven't listened to it, it's the one we did just before this last week, where we discussed asking for what we want, especially at work and in the realms of negotiation. You're looking at salaries and stuff like that. But I want to expand on that because asking for what we want isn't just applicable to work scenarios. It runs throughout our life. And surprisingly, that can take courage the older we are. So I want to explore why. Well, as we mature, it's easy to fall into that comfortable routine. We become accustomed to a certain way of doing things, a certain level of respect, and a certain standard of living. But sometimes, just sometimes, that comfort can lull us into complacency. It can make us hesitant to push for more, to ask what we truly deserve. And I've noticed a trend among my clients, many of whom are over 50, and they have a tendency to prioritize the needs of others over their own. Maybe you've seen it in yourself, in your own actions. We've spent decades being the caregivers, the steady employees, the peacekeepers in our communities, in our groups, amongst our friends, and the ones who make sure everything is held together. So it's easy to fall into the rhythm of comfort and status quo. We do it so well that asking for more or even asking for what we truly desire can feel, well, selfish or maybe even intimidating. So, my question to you listening to this is when was the last time you, yes, you, truly put yourself first and ask for what you wanted? And if you want to pause a little second just to have a think about that question, by all means do so. So, admittedly, asking can be intimidating, especially for black women, because we have faced countless obstacles throughout our lives, from systemic racism to gender bias. As we get older, maybe some ageism. And these experiences can shape our self perception and make us doubt our worthiness. But it's time. It's time. Come on, you've been here long enough. It's time to break free from those limiting beliefs. I want you to remember that asking is not selfish. It's a powerful act of self love and self respect. And when you ask for what you want, you're asserting your value and setting boundaries. You're saying, I matter and my needs are important. So, how can you start doing that? How can you start asking with confidence? I'm going to leave you hanging. So, here's a few tips. The first thing is to know your worth. Understand your value and the contributions you've made, just like at work, just like negotiations. You want to recognize your skills, experiences, and the unique perspective you bring to the table, because your view is your view and your experience is personal. Nobody else experienced what you've experienced. Secondly, practice self compassion. Be kind to yourself. Don't beat yourself up if you've hesitated to ask in the past, if you've held yourself back. Instead, focus on the fact that you're moving forward and move forward with confidence. Third, visualize success. Imagine the positive outcomes of asking. Think about what will happen when you hear that yes. Envision yourself achieving your goals and enjoying those rewards. And I always say that if you don't ask, you know better, you know worse off than when you started because you're at the same situation. But if the answers are yes, then it could be, the chances are it's going to be much better. Number 4, you want to start small. Begin by asking for small things like a raise or a promotion. Build your confidence with each successful request. And lastly, number 5, You use I statements. Frame your requests in a way that empowers you. For example, instead of saying I need a raise, say I believe my contributions deserve a raise. Now, if you hear that, it sounds like a bold new you. That's because it is. And that's okay. We're all evolving every day. We don't stop learning and we should keep on evolving. But don't worry, because I'm here to remind you that it's not only brave to ask for what you want, it's necessary. Think of it as a love letter to your future self, because you deserve to have what you've dreamed of, even if society has told you otherwise. And if you're looking for a mantra, I'll share one that I've been really loving lately, and that is, I'm allowed to take up space and my voice deserves to be heard. You want to say that with me? I'm allowed to take up space and my voice deserves to be heard. Wherever you are, let it resonate, because after 50, we're not just living, we're not just surviving, we're thriving. And I encourage you to take action, even if it is just a tiny, teeny step. Start by asking for what you want, no matter the size, no matter how big or how small it may seem. And if this episode inspired you to ask for what you want, or if it gave you the nudge to start somewhere small, I want to hear about it. I'd love to hear from you. So share your story or your wins, no matter the size. Email me at info@janicesutherland.com or follow me up on all the socials, because all your wins deserve to be celebrated. So until next time, stay fabulous. And remember, if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care. Thanks for listening. If you got something from this week's episode, please let me know. Better yet, share it with your friends, colleagues, and anyone you know who can benefit from this message. Don't forget to subscribe or write a review and connect with me at my website, janicesutherland.com, where you can also subscribe to the This Woman Can newsletter or connect with me on LinkedIn. Remember, you have the wisdom, resilience, authenticity, and power to create a life on your terms. And if I can, you can, this woman can. Take care until next time.